Today on Around Kansas Deb shares some information about events canceled and postponed due to COVID-19. Then it's a fun interactive bull snake lesson from our friends at the Sternberg Museum in Hayes. On the front porch, Duane is joined by Ken Dean. Ron Wilson is back with another poem, and we end with a beautiful scenic view of the Kingman Hills from Nick Abt.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on 3 main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Good morning. Welcome to Around Kansas. I'm Deb Goodrich, coming to you this morning from the Fort Wallace Museum. And of course the museum has been closed and is still closed for a little while. So we're going to do some virtual tours and I think even have an online class about the Fort Wallace Museum. You can come out and walk around the grounds, and hopefully it won't be too long before you can actually get inside and see some of these awesome exhibits. I know that a lot of things have been postponed or canceled, and one of the ones that, of course, is a great disappointment to me is the Kansas Music Hall of Fame. So those inductees that would have been in concert and honored this year got their certificates in the mail, and that's a little disappointing for all of us who gather and honor these incredible musicians from the state of Kansas. So over the next few weeks, I've decided to highlight some of them, or I'll try to get all of them in to some extent, all of the honorees. And so stay tuned, look forward to that. And if you have some stories from Kansas Music Hall of Fame that you'd like to share with me, let me know. You can find me on Facebook or my email. We're just so blessed with incredible musicians. I was messaging back and forth with Duane Bailey, speaking of incredible musicians, about the disproportionate number of amazing guitar players, including Duane, who hail from Kansas. Now, he doesn't think it's quite so disproportionate. You know, he's been all over the world, and he's seen guitar players from every place. But I'm determined to prove that point. And if you would like to share proof, if you want to help me prove that, let me know. Send me some stories. So that's just one of the things that won't happen this year. We're hoping that a lot of things will be rescheduled for fall, just like the Fort Wallace Rodeo that would have been normally Memorial Weekend, would have been coming up here soon. That has been moved to Labor Day, so we're sure hoping that that works out. And then we have another big event the weekend of September 12th, and that will be our buffalo hunt encampment. And we are selling raffle tickets for a buffalo hunt and a gun and the whole 9 yards. It's pretty awesome. And of course, Santa Fe Trail moved a few things, so Rendezvous Weekend, which would have been in the spring, has been moved to the fall. So again, find Facebook pages, and fall is just going to be packed. Cross your fingers, folks, that we can make events happen in the fall, that everybody will be safe and happy, and we can make all these things happen. So just keep your fingers crossed, be smart, stay safe, and let's take care of one another, and just do the best we can to make something, kind of salvage this year. It has enabled us to get some things done in the museum, and I know a lot of you have been working at home. Same way, a lot of home projects, home improvement stuff you've been putting off. And the museums, some of those galleries that have been closed, the same there. It's given some people some time to catch up on work. So we're hoping to see the fruits of all those labors when we come out of quarantine for good. And sure, sending out our best to all of you, and can't wait till we can give you a big hug again. We got a great show this morning, so stay with us.
In 1821, a trade route was opened from Missouri in the United States across prairies and mountains to Mexico. In 2021, we will mark 200 years of epic conflicts and grand adventures, larger-than-life personalities, and sweeping landscapes. Join us on an historic journey. The Santa Fe Trail lives on.
Find us on social media or santafetrail.org.
Okay, looks like it's time for our tour. Welcome to the Fort Wallace Museum. Here at the museum, you're going to find some really interesting stuff like our replica stagecoach from the Butterfield Overland Dispatch. We've got facades from the fort buildings. We've got an 1870s flag. There's a plesiosaur that was discovered locally. We've got the Ray pump organ collection. We're a little bitty place with a great big story, and we'd love to have you.
Surecrop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for that grower. We're based out of Scenic, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm, so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well on their planting systems and what they're doing. Surecrop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have.
This segment brought to you by the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center in Oakley.
During our recent quarantine, the folks at the Sternberg Museum have been going live every day, a couple of times a day, to share their exhibits and information. And I think if you visit their Facebook page, all those little live segments are archived. Well, the other day they had brought the snakes out of their quarantine, and they were actually debunking myths involving snakes. So I asked Ian Trevathan if he would share some of that information with us. It was just fascinating. So support the Sternberg, go visit when you can, and in the meantime, let's have a virtual lesson.
Hi there, and welcome to the Sternberg Museum of Natural History in Hays, Kansas. My name is Ian Trevathan. I am the Education and Outreach Manager here at the museum. And this is our naturalist, Alicia Gady, and she is here to talk about a special critter that we have here at the museum, because at the museum we like to talk about all things natural history. So who is this?
So this is Jason. He is I still call him our baby bull snake, but he is 2 years old now. I call him our baby one because we have a 6'1" named Jacob in the back room. So today we are going to talk about some common myths between bull snakes and rattlesnakes. So here in Kansas, a lot of people are afraid of rattlesnakes. They're afraid of any snake they see out in the wild because they might not know what it is. And one that commonly gets mistaken for a rattlesnake is bull snakes. So there's a couple reasons with their whole correlation of being confused for each other. So one is that most people think that venomous snakes have triangular heads, and bull snakes...
He doesn't want to really stretch out because it's cold.
So he does kind of have a triangular head. So that's why most people think when they see a bull snake that it is a rattlesnake. But not all venomous snakes do have triangular heads. Some of them do have round heads. So that's also not kind of a good way to tell. The best way to tell is if you see a snake out in the wild and you don't know what it is, you just stay away from it. Because most people think, oh, if there's a rattlesnake, its tail's going to rattle and it's going to warn me that it's venomous. That is not the case. Sometimes rattlesnakes will not rattle their tail to warn you. Sometimes there's not a chance to warn you. But bull snakes also like to rattle their tail. So they'll keep it on the ground and they'll hit leaves or rocks or anything like that, and it'll sound just like a rattlesnake, especially if you don't hear rattlesnakes all that often. So some of the really common myths about bull snakes and rattlesnakes is that they can mate together, so that you have a hybrid that's a bull rattlesnake. So this is not at all possible because rattlesnakes give live birth. So they keep their eggs inside of them and then they hatch inside and then they give birth. So it's not the same as mammals, but bull snakes lay eggs. So they cannot mate together because they just have different systems completely. Another thing is that I get all the time is that if you have a bull snake on your property, if you live out in the country or something, it is going to keep the rattlesnakes away because it eats the rattlesnakes. So bull snakes have never actually been known to eat rattlesnakes. In fact, bull snakes mainly eat warm-blooded. Are you gonna go to? Okay, got this. Bull snakes mainly eat warm-blooded creatures. So they like birds, mice, rodents, all those stuff, and some bird eggs. So other snakes that are cold-blooded, they're not all about eating that. I don't know really where that myth came from, but a lot of people think that they will fight them. So bull snakes and rattlesnakes are active at opposite times of the day. So bull snakes are diurnal, so that means they're active during the day. That's when you can see them, whereas rattlesnakes tend to sleep during the day because they are nocturnal, so they are out at night. So lots of people think that, oh, I saw a bull snake, I didn't see any rattlesnakes, that must mean that the bull snake's keeping them away. Well, that's just because they're not active at the same time. So it is pretty common that there's still a rattlesnake somewhere around. Bull snakes and rattlesnakes do hibernate together from time to time, and you can find them in the same habitat living together. They don't really have a problem with each other. In some cases, bull snakes will keep rattlesnakes away simply for the fact that bull snakes eat a lot. So like I said, they eat warm-blooded creatures and stuff like that, but they eat a whole lot more than rattlesnakes do. So rattlesnakes are a little bit better at using the energy they get from the food to last longer periods of time. And they are ambush predators, so they'll kind of just be sitting there waiting for something to come by, and they will take that opportunity to eat it. Whereas bull snakes will go out and actively hunt, so that takes a lot more energy, so they have to eat a lot more. So if you're in an area where both of the rattlesnake and bull snake are trying to eat this particular type of rodent that's there, and the bull snake's eating more of it, that rattlesnake may go and try to find somewhere else to eat. So that's kind of a way that they may keep rattlesnakes away, but when you're considering rodents, there's a lot of them out there.
How long can these guys get? So Jason here is 2 years old.
He is 2 years old.
So he's young.
He is young, and he's pretty big for that little of a snake, I guess, for that young of a snake. We know exactly how old he is because he was born in somebody's house.
So he's about 3.5, 4 feet long.
Yeah, about 3.5. So they can get about 6 feet long, and they get a lot thicker too. So he is pretty long right now, but he's going to get a lot thicker. What's really awesome about bull snakes is that they are constrictors. So he's wrapping around my hand right now. He is not trying to constrict me so that he can eat me. Right now he's just trying to constrict me because he thinks we're going to drop him. And I'm also very warm.
It's cold.
So he is pretty cold. It's what, May, and we're having a pretty cold day. So he's all cuddled up to us for the heat. But he is a constrictor, so he does constrict his food, unless, of course, he's eating an egg. Then he just eats it.
Cool. But all right. Well, thank you for your time, Alicia.
No problem. Thank you for your time, Jason.
Hopefully that was informative to everybody out there.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on 3 main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun. Highways 40, 83, and I-70 come together right here in Oakley. Roads that lead to businesses, to magnificent rock formations, to scenic vistas, to places where legends were made. Roads that lead us home. Discover Oakley, the gateway to Western Kansas.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
This segment brought to you by Bob Schwartz Financial. Values, commitment, transparency.
I'm Duane Thames, and my guest today is Ken Dean. Many of you will recognize him as the show manager of the Western Farm Show in Kansas City. But his early start out of high school took a few turns through the broadcast business and the High Plains Journal before he got there.
A radio station in El Dorado called me. He said, "Hey, I know you just moved to Wichita to go to this broadcasting school." He said, "I may already have an opening for you if you want to come to work for me." Well, no, I was really confused. I went over and met with them. Still had not gone to the broadcasting school. He had a slot open from 6 p.m. to midnight, 6 days a week, and I had absolutely no training whatsoever. And he said, "That will not be a problem," which I thought was awfully strange. And the first time I started on the air, I can remember a gentleman's name. His name was Rick Milhan. He had been there forever. He was kind of like the news director, and he normally would do the news. And I'm getting ready to go on the air at 6 o'clock. He says, "Ken, why don't you, here," he just, he grabs the stuff off the AP wire and says, "Why don't you do it?" And I said, "Okay." So he brought me in, he sat me down, and now here's Ken Dean with the news. And I looked at him like a puppy that just was lost in the woods for a week, and somehow managed to get through it. And I said, "What do you think? Shall I leave now?" He says, "No, actually, you did okay. You passed." And so I was on the air there in KOYY in El Dorado for 3 years. And then had an opportunity to advance my career, if you will, up the ladder a little bit. And I moved to Garden City, Kansas, and I worked at KUPK radio for a couple of years. And if folks are familiar now with KBUF radio, actually KUPK was the station before it became KBUF. I was actually there the day that we switched the format from easy listening over to country, and then left there shortly after that and worked at KGNO radio in Dodge City for about 6 years. So I moved there in 78, August of 78, and then started at High Plains Journal in October of 84, since they were right there in Dodge City. So it was a natural transition, I guess, if you will, to move from radio over to High Plains Journal. And, here again, I didn't know what I was doing for the second time in my career. I talked to the folks at High Plains Journal about something completely different than going to work there. And when I finished, I remember Duane Ross, who was the associate publisher, he said, "Ken, have you ever thought about coming to work here?" And I said, "Duane, I'll be honest, I don't even know what you do." I knew a lot of people that worked there, but I just I wasn't for sure what they did. I had an opportunity to go to work for them, and chose to do that. My first territory was a big part of western Oklahoma and part of the panhandle of Texas. So I got a lot of miles in, but, I learned a lot about agriculture. Even though I had, driven a plow for a couple of summers when I was in high school, I didn't really have an opportunity to visit with a lot of farmers, and especially people that were in the farming business, implement dealers and those type of things. You start doing that, you get a real sense of really what farming and ranching is all about from both sides of it. And to this day, I still have a great appreciation. We're talking about maybe 2% of the population that are farmers and ranchers, and they are the ones responsible for the food on the table for everybody else. 2% for the other 98 or 100. Man, that's pretty amazing.
I'm Bob Schwartz, and I've devoted the last 43 years to helping Kansans reach their retirement goals and to protect the family farm. At Bob Schwartz Financial, we believe everyone should be able to live the retirement they've always dreamed of. Our team of professionals can help you create an efficient strategy using a variety of investment vehicles to help you address your financial needs and your concerns. Bob Schwartz Financial values commitment and transparency.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business has started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Scenic, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we're glad to answer and work with you.
This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Let us help feed your family.
The old-time cowboys were always shown with bandanas, these bright pieces of fabric that they wore around their necks. Sometimes we call them wild rags. Turns out those bandanas had a lot of different uses. And now in the coronavirus era, we find they might even have some uses today. This poem is called Multi-Tool. In the days of the Old West, if you would look and check, you'd find a cowboy would wear a bandana around his neck. It was sometimes called a wild rag for bright color that it brings. It was a big piece of fabric the cowboy used for many things. It was used to mop your forehead when the temperature was hot, or tie up a bandage from an injury you got. It could filter out your water when you drank it from a tank, or cover up the bad guy's face if he went to rob a bank. It might repair your saddle when somehow your rigging bust, or it might protect your breathing when you're riding through the dust. It could serve as a towel when you went to wash your face, or to blindfold a wild horse if that needs to be the case. If you have a busted arm, it could be a handy sling, or in a pinch roping calves, it could be a piggin' string. You could wrap it on your head when the temperature was cold, or grab a skillet or a branding iron that was too hot to hold. So it seems that old bandana could do anything you ask, but who'd have guessed that someday it would be a COVID mask? Happy trails.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Kansans have a new choice for Medicare supplement insurance plans. With Medicare supplement insurance plans from Kansas Farm Bureau, you have access to 4 levels of coverage, affordable rates, and service from an organization that's served Kansans for more than 100 years. For more information on Kansas Farm Bureau Medicare supplement plans, including rates and to apply, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
And again, our friend Nick Abt has come through. And if you're not into potholders, you can really get out and enjoy some incredible countryside. And once again, people, more evidence of how flat Kansas is not. Thanks, Nick. This is just beautiful, stunning footage. Have a blessed Wednesday morning, everybody. I'm Deb Goodrich, and I'll see you somewhere around Kansas.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Highways 40, 83, and I-70 come together right here in Oakley. Roads that lead to businesses, to magnificent rock formations, to scenic vistas, to places where legends were made. Roads that lead us home. Discover Oakley, the gateway to western Kansas.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.